Donald Trump right there saying that he does not think the Republican Party has to be unified. Meanwhile, reports that the Weekly Standard editor Bill Kristol met with Mitt Romney last week to try to talk him into a third-party run. Lots of forces going on here. And to break it all down, former Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ron Paul is here with us now. Dr. Paul, good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
So we're just weeks away from Cleveland. Why is Mitt Romney's name still coming up, do you think?
That's a pretty good question. I have no idea. I mean, you would think by now they would recognize that he was part of the problem and why the Republican base sort of turned against him. But to raise his name right now, I mean, you take Kristol and Romney and put them together and think, well, you know, this is exactly what the complaint is. These people have been losing. And I think this dream of having a third-party candidacy, I think, is purely a dream. I can't believe this would come about. And Romney already said that he wasn't that much interested. But I think what the neocons will do, the Bill Kristols of the world, and you hear already, they're going to go with Hillary. Hillary's a Wall Street person, and she's a neocon, and she wants to spend money in the military. So a lot of them will go there. They're not going to get Romney to run. So I think it will shift a lot of people over to Hillary, because I've always argued that Hillary could possibly have run as a Republican with some of her positions.
Well, former Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio posting some breaking news on Facebook just a few moments ago, saying, quote, while Republican voters have chosen Donald Trump as the presumptive GOP nominee, my previously stated reservations about his campaign and concerns with many of his policies remain unchanged. He will be best served by a running mate and by surrogates who fully embrace his campaign. As such, Rubio says, I've never sought, will not seek, and do not want to be considered for vice president. Congressman Paul, what do you think about this statement? Clearly, this is a lot about the delegates that Rubio has.
Well, I think he's right. There's nothing new and different. There's nothing magic about a new approach to government. When you look at Trump, it's much of the same old thing. I mean, big government's going to be there. The welfare state will be endorsed. The military state, he wants to increase money there. Civil liberties is no big concern of his. So I think what Rubio is seeing is the fact that it's a failed cause, politically speaking, in time. So if he'd join up and say, I love Donald Trump and he's the nominee, and then gets clobbered, it doesn't do much for Rubio's career, and I think that's what he's thinking about.
Well, speaking of careers, your son, Senator Rand Paul, has endorsed Donald Trump. You refused to do so. What was that conversation like over the phone?
With whom? You mean with Rand and Donald Trump?
With Rand and yourself about this disagreement.
Well, we recognize that we have different positions on certain things. But actually, Rand gave the better explanation, and Trump played on it, too. And Rand did, he did make a pledge when he was running as a very independent candidate for Senate, and he was challenging McConnell. He said, and people were worried about him. He might be a secret libertarian or something. He said, no, I will always support the nominee of the party. And Trump jumped on that. See, he's an honorable person. He said he's doing what he said. So he was able to turn that against Bush and others who fell back on their promises to support, and then they refused to. But to have disagreements on when you endorse somebody, I don't think there's too much of that. I'm mainly interested in promoting sound economic policy and a foreign policy that's quite a bit different. And the election gives me this opportunity. But unfortunately, I don't see many answers being provided by either party at the moment. There just isn't any. It's sort of same old stuff over and over again. And no matter what happens in 6 months or a year from now, regardless of who wins the election, the people will still be complaining because they have not addressed the real problems that we face in this country.
Well, Dr. Ron Paul, thank you, as always, for being with us.
Thank you.